Welcome to our first field study on the ZVL Bowling channel. Today we have a fun video where we have a lot of bowling balls in front of us. What are we doing with them? We are actually testing them with an actual durometer. We're checking the hardness of a bowling ball. We're showing what all of these bowling balls come at, and then we're going to explain actually the education of why softer bowling balls are better than harder bowling balls. Why are these limits in place? Why are so many people talking about the hardness of urethane bowling balls like these four over here on this side? We're going to dig into why it matters, what these actually range at, and then talk about what reactive balls do and why it all matters to try to help you become a better bowler and a more knowledgeable bowler and have a little fun with it at the end of the day. Do I know what this thing's going to say on all these bowling balls? No. Is this scientific? No, I'm prefacing with that. This is very much not a controlled environment. These are not controlled bowling balls. They've all been thrown a variety of times. Some of them have not been thrown. Phase 2. Some have been thrown about 30 times, IQ 78. Some have been thrown about 17 billion times. Original Kentucky Purple Hammer. Legal one, by the way, not the illegal ones from like 2017 or whatever. So what we're going to do, check all of these. Again, this is not a controlled environment, not a controlled temperature. These have just been sitting on my shelf or being thrown on lanes. I have resurfaced every single ball on this list minus the brand new Phase 2. We didn't touch that. We haven't thrown that yet, so I don't think resurfacing is going to take any oil off of it or anything. But we have resurfaced everything else. It is at about 1,000 grit with just whatever 1,000 grit pad I had. It was a new one at the time, so some of the balls might look a little bit more dull than others. But if you guys enjoy this kind of video, if you want to see more like this, actual IRL videos, please let me know down below in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, and then I have a nice little follow for more up there also. So whatever you guys want to do to help support the channel, greatly appreciate it. But let's get into it. We are using a Shore D durometer. This is not the one that the PBA, USB-C, and CTD use. They use a Rex D durometer. The Rex version is about $500. This little guy was about $25 to $30. So you can tell this is not going to be as precise as those Rex D durometers are. What we're going to do is we're going to have 3 readings from every single bowling ball on this list. I'm going to be writing them down. We're going to get an average. We're just going to do 3 from each one, and we're going to see what we end up at. You'll probably see a little bit of fast forward here, hopefully, if post-edit Zach knows what he's doing. But we're starting. OG Phase 2, or a brand new Phase 2, sorry, brand new pour. You can tell it's a lot brighter than the old one. Hasn't been drilled yet, hasn't been thrown. So let's see what we're going to get to. All right, we have a 74. Phase 2 new. 74. We're going to spin the ball, get a different side. What you do for these, spin the ball, see what we're at. That's an even 73. And this only does, I believe, go in halves or wholes. 72.5. Interesting. Okay. Done with the old new Phase 2. 74, 73, 72.5. On to, or new Phase 2. I keep saying old. On to the old Phase 2. This is a 2020 pour, has about 17 trillion games on it. I threw this thing once or twice back in my day. 73.5. That's kind of surprising. Spin the ball. Get one kind of in the track area. 72.5. Well, this Phase 2 did not get, based on the first 2 readings, is not getting harder. 73.5. Weird. So right around 73 is, by the way, the legal point that all bowling balls have to come at before they get sent out by USB-C. Next, Motive Tank Blitz. This is going to be an interesting one. It's the original microcell polymer. Okay, 74.5. That's a new one. All right, 74.5. Let's do a little spinnerooski. Let's grab one in the track quick. 76. Okay. This Tank Blitz has been thrown quite a bit, by the way. Just an FYI on that front. And third one. 75.5. All right, Tank Blitz, 74.5, 76, 75.5. Very interesting. Pink Widow, Black Widow Pink. This bowling ball has the Black Widow core in it, massive core. However, it has the Purple Hammer cover stock. I believe this was a Mexico pour. Yeah, the Hammer logo does not say made in the USA. That's a good way to tell if it's a Mexico pour or a Kentucky pour. But this was probably early 2020, so let's see what this one gets at. Starting it off, we are at, okay, 64. Really? This thing hasn't been thrown that much. I got it used, by the way. This is a used ball. It was, I don't know if it'll be easy to see on camera, but it was already plugged once. So I don't know what happened to it. That was a viewer. Shout out the Rainses for sending that to me, sending this ball to me. 69. Nice. Moving on. Spot number 3. 68. Okay. Okay, first reading was just a little bit lower than the rest. All right, we are moving on to the big dogs. This is a fun one. Or not original, Mexico poured purple hammer. This was, I believe, a 2021 purple hammer, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was right after or soon after Brunswick picked up the Ebonite brands is when I purchased this ball. This one actually rolls pretty good. It was plugged once. I have thrown a good amount of games on it. This is what I try to bring a little bit more at times. It hooks earlier and is just like smoother off the spot than the original. It's a little more usable for what I want urethane to be. All right, we're starting with a banger at 65. Now, are these numbers perfectly accurate? Like, is it actually 65 based on our little handheld durometer? It might not be. It might be 62 or 7 or like 68, 69. But the goal of this is to showcase that what is higher and lower, right? Like, so far we've seen the tank is actually harder than the original Phaze, than both my Phaze 2s. It's harder by a couple of points versus the Pink Widow is softer than the rest of them just based on what numbers we've gotten. So this is brand new, by the way. I'm low-key shocked it's actually in the general range. I was very much expecting to take it out of the box, use it, and it's at like 30 or something dumb. But second one for, oh, what, really? Okay. New purple hammer, 62. Not new, not Mexico poured. I gotta stop saying new. Third one, 67. Okay. We're not going to count this one, but I think, yeah, I did end up getting one in the track. Yeah, that was 67. So, yeah, I wanted to get one in the track because if a ball, I want to see if in the track it actually ranges higher or lower, but it looks like it ranges at the exact same. We're on to the Kentucky legal purple hammer, not the illegal ones, the legal ones. So this one, unfortunately, we're going to have to spin a little bit harder because I did not have enough ball cups for this test. Ran out. Okay, 65. Same thing as the new. Let's try a different spot, as one does. 67, okay. And 66. Huh, so the new purple hammer just had that weird 62 in it. Just for giggles, did I get spots that didn't really work? Oh, no, it's about what it is. Oops. I keep hitting the 0 button on accident. Oh, there's a soft spot. That's a 65 right there. That's not too soft. Purple hammer, old one, done. We're going to have all these results on screen, by the way, so I'm not going to be able to say all of them. IQ 78. This thing hasn't been thrown that much. Oh. 76. This ball is supposed to come at 78 hardness is what it is right out of box. Like I said, I have thrown it a little bit, 76. So based on USB-C, PBA, CTD, this should be a little bit softer, even though I've barely thrown any shots. 74 and a half, okay. All right, 74 and a half for that guy. So we did a test on every single ball that we have in front of us. What we are going to do is take these numbers, bring them back to the lab, get averages, and get the full list for you. And then we're going to talk about why bowling ball hardness actually matters. We're back after checking the hardness of 7 different bowling balls, and we have the results for you. These are really interesting. I'm going to have them on the screen right now, but let's read through all of them with a little bit of a description. So starting off with the brand new Phaze 2 2025, undrilled, never thrown down a lane. 73.17. This is right above that 73 realm. Nothing too unexpected there. All bowling balls, when they make it to USB-C for testing before they actually get it released and before they get approved by USB-C, have to be at or above that 73 hardness. Brand new Phaze 2 already above it. The old Phaze 2 is a little surprising. I thought this ball would actually be a lot harder, but it's coming in at exactly 73 hardness on average. This is weird. I thought this would be a lot harder, but I guess maybe older Phaze 2, maybe it hit a lower hardness point before it got put out. The hardness might have been 71 at the time. I'm not entirely positive on that. Moving on, Motive Tank Blitz, the original tank. This thing has been thrown a lot of times. So expectedly, this ball did get harder. It shows that microcell polymer does absorb oil. It does get harder. It is at 75.3 hardness. This is currently the hardest bowling ball that we have. Is it crazy? Not really. But we're going to get into something in a minute where CTD, creating the difference, does show that even a couple of points can make all the difference. Moving on to the actual urethanes, we're starting off with the Black Widow Pink. This has that Purple Hammer core, that Purple Hammer cover, apologies, that softer cover stock that we all know about. And I'm saying that because it came in at 67 hardness. This is 6 points lower than what the legal limit actually is. So this Pink Widow, even though it doesn't seem like it has a bunch of games on it, I did get it used, so I don't know how much that other people use this bowling ball, but it is coming in at a 67 hardness on average. Moving on to the Purple Slammers, we are starting off with the Mexico poured Purple Hammer. This one's coming in at a shocking 64.67. This is because there was a little bit of an outlier with a 62 in there. Now, the numbers are 64.67, but after looking at it a little bit more, it is around that 66 range. That was just a soft spot that I found on that ball. So it is around that 66 hardness. Going to the Kentucky Purple Hammer, this one also very consistently at 66 hardness. Again, both of these bowling balls have been thrown a good amount of times. The old one was thrown more than the new one. I haven't thrown the old one a lot recently. That one has been plugged. Kind of fun fact of it, the plug actually comes in at an 80 hardness. So kind of cool. Does it really affect much? Not really. The ball doesn't roll over it, but kind of a cool FYI for you. Finally, IQ 78. This ball came in at 78 out of box, 78 hardness, because that's what it had to from USB-C, coming in at a 75.5 hardness. This ball only got thrown about 30-ish times so far. It really wasn't much. So seeing it already a little bit softer is kind of crazy. But let's get into why this matters and what these numbers mean. So in bowling, all bowling balls have a certain hardness that they have to hit. The reason for this is that softer bowling balls tend to hook more. The best metaphor to use is like if you have a tire that is pumped up all the way, there is less of the tire that is hitting the road. Now, if you soften that tire a little bit, more of the tire is hitting the road. That's a similar way to a bowling ball. We sometimes call that the footprint of a bowling ball will be what you hear it as. That just means more of the ball is touching the lane. And the more of the ball that's touching the lane, overall, the better it is. Creating the Difference did a fantastic survey on this, or a study on this, where they showcase that the softer bowling ball actually slows down quicker, and it gives them more miss room on a flatter pattern. So the softer your bowling ball, the better it is on a flatter pattern, versus a harder bowling ball is going to hook later. It's going to continue less. It's just overall not going to be the ball motion that you want out of that bowling ball. Now, is a soft bowling ball always a bad thing? No. That Tank Blitz that we saw, that was the hardest one on the list outside of the IQ 78. That's what I threw at the USB-C Open Championships. It looked pretty good, got me to a 590, and I had 3 missed makeables or 4 missed makeables in there, so it should have been like a 640. But that ball rolled really good for me out there. Hard bowling ball doesn't mean it's bad, but it does change the ball reaction a lot. Would my Purple Hammer have hooked earlier? Oh, absolutely, 100% at the same surface, guaranteed. But this showcases that softer bowling balls do exist. There are differences in how hard a bowling ball is, and even those tiny little differences can mean a lot. When Creating the Difference did a little bit of their study on this, they did really see that the softer bowling ball, even when it was down to a 70 hardness versus a 73, gave you that little bit of extra miss room. So these ones being down to 67 is kind of crazy. Now again, this was not the most controlled experiment. This was for funsies. This wasn't fully, this is the truth, the cold hard truth. But this was a way to showcase that bowling balls come at different hardnesses. It showcases that all of the urethanes were softer than what they originally were, where the reactive balls were not. So very interesting there. We tried to keep everything as clean as possible as well to try to avoid some of the arguments of oil getting on the needle or things like that. So if you ever have any questions on the hardness of a bowling ball, remember, urethane balls do get softer with use. This is another way to show that there have been a lot of bad misinformation campaigns going around about urethane not getting softer. It does. Reactive balls, this shows mine didn't get harder, but I did not know what the 2020 Phase 2 was actually at when it first got poured back again in 2020. The hardness rules might have been a little bit different at the time. And finally, shout out Amazon for having this durometer. I didn't want to spend $500 on an experiment like this. Having something for 25 to 30, perfect. Good job, Amazon. I'm glad that you had this thing for us to play around with a little bit. If you want me to test other bowling balls that I have, because I have plenty behind me, please let me know. I tried to hit a little bit of everything. I know I didn't hit the reactive side very hard just with my 2 Phase 2s, but if you want me to hit other bowling balls, please let me know. It's not very hard to do. And after this, what am I going to do with a durometer, really? But otherwise, I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this down below in the comments. Make sure to like if you haven't. Make sure to drop a subscription. Then we can do a lot more fun and weird experiments on this channel that we haven't really been able to do in the past. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I will see you on the next one.